Welcome to North American Whitetail This Week. We're glad you're here. This week, my buddy Gordon Whittington is headed to the Texas Panhandle. Been there a lot.
Gordon, you've been there. You're hunting with Ty Sims this week. I know you've been and hunted on our show there with Ty before, but you're hunting open country this week, and I love chasing whitetails in open country. Why don't you set this hunt up for us, please?
Well, here's the deal. It's post-rut, which is normally bad, right? But this is rifle hunting in really open country. These deer are on a feeding pattern. There's a lot of big bucks in this area, but it's just so open, most people would probably just say, where are the deer?
Right.
Well, if you look hard enough and you know what you're doing, and Ty does, you'll always find them. Up next, I'm headed to Texas. Well, you know, having been here hunting with Ty in 2017, and we shot a really nice mature 8-pointer, and you just tell it's a great place to hunt. There's a ton of deer here, and it doesn't really look like whitetail country. That's a given. You know, a lot of people would say, well, there's not enough woods there to hold any deer, but yet this brushy cattle country and got a lot of tall grass and canyons and things and small creek bottoms. It really is ideal whitetail habitat because there's not a lot of hunting pressure here, and these deer really get a chance, in many cases, to really get old, and there's a ton of bucks. Now, hunting a place like this in early December might seem more of a challenge because it's getting into the post-rut, and yes, you do have some deer that are becoming, you know, less active in daytime chasing does. That said, what you have in your favor out here that a lot of places don't is isolated and very well-defined food sources. And in this case, you've got winter wheat fields scattered through this cattle country, and that is absolutely where most of the deer are going to feed. And because these deer are not very nocturnal, you have a really good chance of seeing bucks on these fields early and late in the day.
Well, that's one nice buck this morning here on this wheat field we're watching. Really calm, frosty morning. These deer out in this wheat field, a lot of them out here, but just the one mature buck we've seen so far, and his right side almost completely busted off. Nice 5-point on the left side, but just like one big point left on the right, so he's gonna get a free pass, obviously. But man, there's a lot of deer activity here, and so many deer in these wheat fields up in this part of Texas that you just never know which one, which morning, which afternoon is going to be the right one. But that's a great start to our hunt, to see as many deer as we've had, and to really had really nice hunting conditions so far. So pretty confident something good's going to happen. Hey, first afternoon here in the northeast Texas Panhandle, hunting with my buddy Ty Sims at T-Fork Outfitters. And this is a different kind of spot for whitetails for sure. This really looks like mule deer country or antelope country or something besides whitetail country. I'm not sure exactly what to call it, but it is really open, high plains type country with some really eroded, jagged canyons and little points and coulees and things like that just running all through this country, and yet there's some wheat fields up on top to our north back here behind the camera. And these deer live down in these coulees and canyons, and then in the afternoon they work their way up to the north here to these wheat fields to feed at night. And in the morning, of course, they do the opposite. So we're set up in this big canyon hoping to catch some of this south to north travel as these deer work their way up in here and stage in late afternoon. And Ty tells me there's some really good bucks over in this country, so I would not be surprised to see one, even though it absolutely does not look like whitetail country. We're gonna find out. Boy, it's gotten quiet and still back in this canyon. The sun just dropped below the lip of this rim over here to the west, and we've seen a bunch of deer, most of them a good ways off across this canyon, working their way north toward that wheat field, and haven't seen a lot of deer drop down through the bottom. But you know, there's still several minutes of shooting light left. It only takes one buck, and and he could pop in here out of anywhere. So we're gonna really have to be watching, because with all these little canyons coming together, you know, a deer come around a corner and be right on top of you before you even know it sometime, even though it's really big open country. So we're gonna hang tight right here and see if something good will happen.
Now, after setting up one afternoon in this canyon country and seeing some deer way off, but nothing right close to us, and we realized that it might be an advantage to try to be more mobile. Instead of hunting out of a blind, the next morning we decided we're going to get up on a high spot and see if we can glass and possibly see a mature buck that we can then move on. And if we can do that, then maybe we can cut down the distance, because sometimes you're seeing these deer a mile or more away from you, and you can't expect to necessarily be in the right place all the time. But if you're mobile and you know how to work the country and use the wind to your advantage, as well as the sun to your advantage, a lot of times you can get up within rifle range of one of these bucks. But he has to be on his feet and moving, and you have to kind of have an idea of where he's going. When you have that combination, then you have a chance.
Right there, there's a good buck right there.
That's a different deer.
That is, yeah, that's not the same deer. That other deer's a little bit farther.
Now, we've been sitting here a while just glassing from up on top, and finally look off to the north and see a buck that piques our interest. And this is obviously a fully mature buck, and he's by himself. He's not chasing a doe. So we think we got a fighting chance to get ahead of him, but we got to pick the right angle, we got to pick the right time to move, and then we got to get a little bit lucky.
And he's coming down the ridge there. You see him there, Gordon, coming off that ridge?
Yeah, I see him.
Man, if we could just get him to stop down here in this bottom.
Smoked him. Hey, buddy.
Oh,
Look
man.
at this, huh?
That is a nice,
Check that
deer.
out. Oh, let's put the old Browning down and pick up our Panhandle buck. Look at this, huh?
Congratulations, what a nice deer.
Thank you, sir. Good
Yes,
job.
sir. Yes, sir. Congratulations to you.
Fantastic. Boy, he came right down the ridge, room service, came right down in front of us, 180-something yards.
185 yards, perfect shot placement. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Smacked him and dropped right there.
Right there. That's
What
the
a-
way
What a cool
we
buck.
like it. Boy,
I mean,
he is nice. Long eye guards.
He's
long eye
got
guards.
huge brows. I mean, he really does. And
Sticker on a G2.
yeah, he's an old-looking deer too. Look at that
Yeah.
gray face, and there's got a
little
scar on the
scar
side of
there.
his nose, and obviously he has not been rubbing on trees out here,
That's right,
so he
maybe
must
some
have.
rocks. He broke his 3.
This must have been from fighting with other bucks.
Uh-huh.
But look, he's got all these places where he's just
Oh,
chipped
yeah.
off on the tips, and yet these big brows are perfectly intact.
I
So
know.
that's
Doesn't that
cool.
make it nice?
And out in this open country to kill a deer like this, that would surprise a lot of people. wouldn't
Yeah, boy, I tell you, he just like he's on a string. He come right down here like we needed him, and stop and give us a nice shot opportunity right there. Boy, it's just right.
it? Some bucks want to be on TV.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And this one did. Folks, what a great hunt here in the Panhandle with T-Fork Outfitters. Well, guys, you could see exactly why I love to hunt the Texas Panhandle, because there's lots of big deer there, and it's so open you can see them. Of course, it also helps to have a great rifle. That X-Bolt Hunter 270 laid that buck down.
That's right, Gordon. Yep. I think Doc likes to refer to that as the 3-step run, actually, if I've heard him correctly before.